Anakin, Luke, or Leia. The real Chosen One in Star Wars, according to George Lucas. The Chosen One is central to George Lucas' Star Wars saga, but does it describe Anakin Skywalker, Luke Skywalker, or Leia Organa? When Star Wars was solely comprised of the original trilogy, most people would have considered Luke the main character, especially in the first two films. However, Return of the Jedi had Darth Vader destroy the Emperor and revealed that Leia would also learn to use the Force. Lucas radically changed the saga's focus when he created the Chosen One prophecy for the Star Wars prequel trilogy. This ancient Jedi legend claimed that a Chosen One would someday destroy the Sith and bring balance to the Force, adding new context to both trilogies. Thanks to new information that has come out over the years, we now better understand who Lucas intended to be the Chosen One and who holds the title in Star Wars canon. Anakin Skywalker is most commonly viewed as the Chosen One in Star Wars, and most evidence supports it. When Qui-Gon Jinn first met Anakin in Star Wars, Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, he recognized that Anakin had an unusually strong connection to the Force. He realized it was far more when Anakin's mother, Shmi Skywalker, claimed that she had given birth to Anakin despite him having no father. After taking a blood sample and confirming that Anakin had the highest concentration of midichlorians ever seen in a life form, he felt confident to present his findings to the Jedi Council. The Jedi spent the next 13 years operating under the belief that Anakin was the Chosen One, though they acknowledged that the prophecy could have been misread. Anakin's encounter with the Force gods of Mortis seemed to validate his role as the Chosen One even more. Of course, it did seem that Qui-Gon had been wrong about Anakin when he betrayed the Jedi Order and became Darth Vader. Anakin seemed lost to the dark side until he learned he had a son, who tried to convince him to return to the light. After seeing Luke about to die at his master's hand, Anakin turned on Palpatine, fulfilling the prophecy after all by destroying the Sith and bringing balance to the Force. Lucas himself stuck by this interpretation of the Chosen One prophecy for many years, framing Anakin as the main character of the saga. He said that everyone in the Star Wars universe has a destiny if they choose to follow it, so while Anakin chose the dark side for many years, he ultimately embraced his destiny to save his son. Even so, Star Wars has explored other possibilities for who could be the Chosen One. Considering Anakin's fall from grace, it would be understandable if viewers assumed that Luke was the real Chosen One, an opinion shared by Obi-Wan Kenobi. In Star Wars Rebels Season 3, Episode 20, Twin Suns, Obi-Wan defeats his old nemesis, Maul, in a final duel on Tatooine. Just before his death, Maul asks Obi-Wan if the person he's protecting is the Chosen One, and Obi-Wan replies he is. All of Obi-Wan's words and actions in the Star Wars movie are consistent with this assertion. Obi-Wan was devastated by Anakin's betrayal, screaming at the end of their duel on Mustafar how it was said that you would destroy the Sith, not join them. When other Jedi expressed doubt, Obi-Wan defended Anakin and firmly believed that he would bring balance to the Force, only for it to be left in darkness. While Obi-Wan didn't stop believing in the Chosen One prophecy, he came to believe it was Luke instead. Obi-Wan claimed multiple times in the original trilogy that Luke is their only hope to stop the Sith, despite knowing that Leia is his twin sister. The Obi-Wan Kenobi series shows how Obi-Wan saw a lot of Anakin in Luke, which likely colored his judgment, but his belief is consistent nonetheless. Even Lucas appears to have thought of Luke as the Chosen One at one point in time. Some of Lucas' early notes from the development of The Empire Strikes Back mention Luke the Chosen One, demonstrating Lucas' commitment to the concept decades before the prequel trilogy. Of course, Lucas could have been speaking generally about Luke's role in the story, and he had several years to repurpose the Chosen One for Anakin's arc. Disney ultimately decided not to use Lucas' treatments for the Star Wars sequel trilogy, but more details have been revealed about what he had in mind for the story. Most of what we know comes from the Star Wars archives, Episode 1 to 3, 1999 to 2005 by Paul Duncan, where Lucas shared some of his plans for Leia's role in the sequels. This seemingly contradicts Lucas' assertions about Anakin being the Chosen One, but there are a few ways to interpret his comments. Lucas could have been referring to Leia having more focus in the sequels, as he wanted this trilogy to be about the daughter and the grandchildren, after the first two were about the father and the son. Lucas may also have been adding another perspective on the prophecy, as its exact meaning was debatable in the prequel trilogy. However, if Lucas did intend for Leia to be the chosen one instead of Anakin, there is some supporting evidence. Lucas has playfully noted in past interviews how Leia is the real hero of A New Hope, as Luke and Han simply stumbled into her story and then needed her to get them out of trouble. Luke also believed that Leia would learn to wield the Force and that she was the rebellion's only hope if he didn't survive. Yoda's attitude while training Luke could imply that he too thought Leia was the real chosen one. When Obi-Wan said Luke was their last hope, Yoda reminded him that there is another, and his final act before dying was telling Luke that there is another Skywalker. The Chosen One could also be a symbolic title that passes between generations, a theme Lucas loved exploring in his Star Wars movies. With so many interpretations of the prophecy, even from Lucas himself, fans may be led to believe that the Chosen One's identity is unclear in the current Star Wars canon. After all, Rey serves a similar role in the sequels, and Ben Solo sacrificed himself at the end, so maybe they fulfill the prophecy. Thankfully, Star Wars canon has a definitive answer, affirming that Anakin is still the Chosen One. Despite Yoda saying that the prophecy could have been misread, it's hard to see this referring to anyone but Anakin. The text also identifies the Chosen One as a him, and while this could simply be an assumption made by whoever wrote the prophecy, it would seem to automatically rule out characters like Leia and Rey. Luke may have grown up never knowing his father, but having one was still a big part of his story. Until a new Star Wars story specifically says otherwise, Anakin Skywalker is still the Chosen One. Then again, George Lucas was willing to have someone else fill that role, or at least offer a new perspective on the prophecy. Now that he has stepped away from Star Wars, Disney and Lucasfilm aren't likely to change the identity of the Chosen One, but I suppose anything is possible.